Hi everyone, good evening. Thank you so much for joining in today. We are glad to have all of you here. Considering that it's a Friday evening and all of you are joining, it shows how much you are enthusiastic about learning more on FinTech and having a career in the FinTech world. So before we start into the actual topic, into why we are here, let me just first introduce me and our group. So I am Nikita Gulati. I am a part of the marketing team for Manipal Global Skills Academy. Manipal Global Skills Academy is a part of the Manipal Group. Manipal Group has an amazing legacy of its own, to which we will, Okay. So Manipal Education Group has a pedagogy of about 65 years plus. We are a group of 20,000 plus employees. We every year on year we train 1 lakh plus students, and we have trainers on board, around 1,000 plus trainers on board. So the kind of trust that people have on Manipal Group or for education is huge. And coming to Manipal Global Skills Academy, so MGSA, that is what we call it in short form, is a skill transformation and upskilling enterprise. We have trained over 1,000 plus students till now on technological information, and we bridge the gap between the academic teaching and what the industry wants. We are constantly in touch with the industry experts to understand what their requirements is, what the industry demands, and we upskill students as per that so that they are job ready from day one. Now we also have two of the industry experts here today to explain you about FinTech, the future of FinTech, what financial digital transformation is. We all would have heard terms like cryptocurrency, blockchain, and all that, but how much do we really know about it? So that is something that we will learn today from two of our experts. Let me introduce them to you. We have today with us Dr. Sudhendar Rao, who is the Dean of Faculty of Management and Commerce at Manipal University of Jaipur. He is also a part of the Tapni School of Business at MUJ. He has an industry experience of more than 2 decades into enterprise management, into technological architecture, and he has helped multiple organizations like KPMG, like the World Bank, JP Morgan and Chase, and helped develop their ERP solutions. Thank you so much, Dr. Sudhendra, for joining us today. We are honored to have you here.
Thank you, Nikita. It's my pleasure being here. And,
thank you, sir.
It was exciting to be part of.
We are glad to have you here, and we're eager to hear your inputs on what FinTech is.
Certainly. Thank you.
We also have with us Ms. Keerthi, who is a product head at Manipal Global Skills Academy. She has a rich experience of over 18 years into the education industry and has been working in creating customized programs and curriculums for both companies and colleges. So she works with our advisory team to create the best-in-class curriculum for all our programs, which are up to date and up to the requirements of the industry. Thank you so much, Keerthi, for joining in today.
Thank you, Nikita. Thank you very much.
So I think we are. Can you see the next slide? Is it visible?
No, Nikita, not yet.
Okay, I think that I'll just start the presentation once again.
Sure.
Okay. So, Keerthi, I would like to take over. I would like you to take over and explain our participants what FinTech is, what is it all about, and what kind of future lies ahead for them in this.
Thank you, Nikita. Good afternoon, all the participants, and welcome all of you to this forum. So let's understand what is FinTech today. FinTech is a buzzword today, and everyone gets to understand it from their perspective. So before we even understand the term FinTech, let's understand technology. Technology is a science that has made our lives easy. So let's take a few examples because we use technology in our day-to-day lives. How many of us have visited banks in the last few years? Maybe 1%, very few for something important. We do all our bank transactions, getting our loans processed, paying credit card bills, doing investments at just the click of a button. We use cabs every day, right? How do we do that? Use an app. Go ahead, get a cab right at the doorstep. Your day-to-day groceries, they're available in minutes with all the apps that we have today. Your consumer products are shopped on Amazon, Flipkart, all this is technology. So when we transact, what do? We transact, it's because our banks are connected, finance is connected, financial services are connected to all the kinds of organizations and sectors. So that's FinTech. So Nikita, just move to the next slide. So if our financial services today would have not adapted this technology, would all this be even possible? No, because everything that you buy and sell at the tip of a button, it relates to finance. So that's why we call it as finance and technology together, which is financial technology. But do remember, financial technologies emerged in the 21st century. It was always there at the back-end systems of financial institutions. But then today, there has been a shift to more consumer-oriented services, and therefore a more consumer-oriented definition. So FinTech not only now includes banks, but different sectors such as education, retail banking, fundraising, and nonprofit, and investment management, to name a few. Yes, Nikita. I think we will give Dr. Sudhi now the stage to move on.
Thank you, Keerthi.
Yeah.
Just to build upon what Keerthi has been just talked about, the financial industry, the financial services industry has always been a very big user of technology. Today, we are all packaging them as FinTech, but in terms of the spend, the amount of technology they deploy, the amount of funds they spend on, the financial sector has always been at the forefront. To just give one example, America's largest bank, JP Chase, for which I used to work earlier, last year they spent approximately $10 billion on technology. So you can imagine, if you have a turnover of $10 billion, you will probably be in Fortune 500. This company is spending that kind of money to build and maintain its technology. Why do they do that? What do we get? What does JP Morgan obviously spending that kind of money? You expect something back. And the benefits that FinTech offers, what we call as FinTech today, why do we call it FinTech today? As I mentioned just now, we have had technology all along. In fact, the very first application on computers, those of you who are from the IT field or engineers from CS, if you have studied a little bit of history, you will see that the very first business application was payroll, a financial application. So right from the beginning, all the big applications have been in the financial industry. Today, thanks to advances in various technologies, various different fields technology, not just one technology, they all have come together in a single package, which has simply changed the way we look at business. In fact, even while I was at JP Morgan, I used to wonder that every day, for example, there is a dollar worth of turnover per day. Every day, this bank used to turn over $1 billion. And we won't see a penny of that. All we see are numbers, because technology handles everything in the back end, as Keerthi said. We just see the numbers in front of us. That's what our technology has done. Today, now, it has moved further and further. So today, even as individuals today, what does finance mean to us as individuals? It meant money. It meant the currency notes we have. It meant the coins we have. In the previous days, it meant shells, this, that, and all. Some unit, gold. Some unit which will help us to do our day-to-day business. That's what money, that's what finance, that's what currency is. Today, even at our individual levels, technology has moved to such a stage that we don't need to see those tokens of money. We also see only numbers. When you go to a shop, as I see, many days, we see even in Jaipur, where I stay right now, some of these roadside Pani Puri wallas accept online payment. They have Paytm, there's that 10 rupees, 20 rupees. So even they don't need to see money. That's what FinTech has done to us. It has changed the nature of the way we do business. It has reduced the need for cash actually, but we will see. We'll also see there is a concept called digital cash, which just last week, if any of you are paying attention to news, RBI has published a position paper. What is that? The position paper says what RBI wants to do in pushing digital cash in the market.
Yes.
So they have just a week back, they have published that. Those who can understand, please go download it and read it. So that's what FinTech has done. It's changed the nature of business today so that you don't have to be a bank to deal in finance today. You must have heard of what are called P2P banks. They're not banks at all. We must have heard of payment banks. They don't meet the requirement of what traditionally is called a bank, but they do all the functions of a bank. So that's the magic of FinTech. So today, it's not just finance. Finance lives through technology. Technology drives. And as we will come to know later, the term was already mentioned, cryptocurrency. What is cryptocurrency? It's a technology tool. Is it currency really? If I give you one Bitcoin, all of you must have heard of the term Bitcoin. What is Bitcoin? It's a bunch of numbers, it's a bunch of gibberish. But inside the Bitcoin world, it carries value. That's the magic. It carries a value of $20,000, $50,000, whatever it is. So that way, FinTech is affecting every aspect of our lives today. And that's the reason why, even if we don't intend to enter into this field, or even if we are not from the technology, we need to understand. Suppose you want to join a bank. You want to join a bank as a teller. You want to join a bank as a manager dispersing loans. If you understand FinTech, tomorrow, if you don't understand FinTech, you're not even going to get a job. Even if you want to be a manager, evaluating roles and evaluating risk, things like that, you need to know FinTech. And of course, if you're in the technology field, obviously you are in the field, and obviously you have to learn the technology. So probably that should be a good enough idea of, would give all of you an idea of what is FinTech and where we are heading. More importantly, why we should study it. Yes, Nikita, want to continue?
Yes. Nikita, you just can go to the next slide.
Yes, 1 second. Yeah.
Okay, so I think this Dr. Sudhi has covered about it.
There are some technologies at the bottom. You want me to touch upon each of these?
Please, Dr. Sudhi. I mean, the participants would really love to hear that from you.
Okay. See how quickly things change for our participants who are in the field. We say warp speed. This is what it means. About 8-9 years back, I started teaching e-commerce. In that connection, I came to know about cryptocurrency and blockchain. And today it's old. We are saying decade old, that technology. Today we are talking about NFT. We're talking about decentralized finance, sometimes also called P2P. The field keeps changing. And you can see that there are two panels. We have 4 roles in FinTech, and we have various driving technologies. Let me start with the technology part first. When we say FinTech, what other technologies does it involve? At a minimum, it will have a combination of these things that you see at the bottom. Probably I will start with blockchain. Blockchain, for those of you, I don't know how many of the participants are from accounting, and I'm sure you understand what's a ledger. So at heart, blockchain is a ledger, nothing else. But it has 2 key features. One is it is distributed. So again, if there's a bank, you go get hold of their books, you mess up the books, you mess up the bank. Blockchain is on everybody's system. So somebody can attack my system, but you cannot mess up the accounting. You cannot mess up the ledger. In layman's knowledge, a copy of blockchain is on every one of the participants. If I'm working on Bitcoin, if I'm dealing in Bitcoin, I will have a copy of Bitcoin's blockchain on my system. So if somebody hacks my system, they can't change much because there are so many other copies. We should quickly come back and revert it back. And second, in blockchain, think about a physical accounting book. We maintain our accounts in a physical book. I can always go back 3 months back and change the account, change the numbers there and commit some fraud. Even in case of a computer, in a database, I have all my accounts. If I am a database administrator, I can go back and change a transaction in the back, in the past, thus steal money or do whatever kind of thing. In blockchain, you can't do that. The way blockchain is structured, you simply cannot go back and change things. So these are the 2 key features. One is it is distributed, so it can, even if it's hacked, it can recover. Second, you simply cannot go back and change things. When things are there, it is there. There are many, many types of blockchains. I don't think we'll have time to go through that, but remember that these two features make blockchain suitable for not just fintech, anything. Imagine if you want to go to your, get a renew your driver's license, you don't know when you got your first license, you don't know the history. But if you put the entire, what do we call them? Regional RTO, right? RTO's documents on blockchain, you will be able to know when you got your first license, when you got your second license, how was it renewed, how did your address changed? And if when you apply for the renewal, when they make the change, you can always go back and verify how your renewal happened. So it is verifiable, it's open, it can be. So not just fintech, here is an application where we are applying blockchain in renewing your license. How about buying a plot of land? What is the big uncertainty when we buy a plot of land today? We don't know whether the person who claims to be the owner, we don't know. So we have to go to the urban development office, work with people there and go back through the history. I think the technical term is a encumbrance certificate, EC we call. That they have to go through the old musty files and it will take days. If the whole system is digitized and put on a blockchain, if somebody gives me a piece of paper showing that I have this piece of land, I can go to the blockchain and verify how did this person get this piece of land, from whom did he buy, who was the owner before that, are these documents real? So as you can see, for all our business transactions, not just fintech, blockchain can be a foundational technology, but at heart, it's nothing more than a ledger book. Second is cloud computing. What is cloud computing? Some of you probably knowing, if it's a real life class, I would have asked some of you to raise your hand and answer me. But think about this. We all use Google Mail, Gmail. Do you know where your mail is kept? Do you care? We don't even care. It may be in Hong Kong, it may be in Bangalore, it could be in Moscow. We don't care. We don't know when it is backed up. It's even possible that your email account is in Moscow, your Google Drive is in Hong Kong. So that's what cloud computing has done. It's computing. Earlier, we had to put all of them in our server. Even as a corporation, we had to put a giant server to store our emails. Today, it's all been put away in the cloud. We say it's in the cloud. It is there somewhere. We don't care. Just made it available. It is there when we want it. And another aspect of cloud computing is we don't need to own it. We only get the services that we want. So it's like power. In fact, there used to be a computing company called Sun Computing. The CEO of that company used to say, computing should become like power. You know, like electricity. We don't even know it's coming out of the wire. Power comes in, it lights the bulb, it runs the mixer, it runs the fridge. When we turn it off, they go off. When we switch it off, it go off. We pay for only what we use. We don't care whether it's coming from a thermal power station, it's coming from a hydro power station, it's power. So that is what cloud computing has done. It has given us computing for whatever we do. You want to do a banking transaction, use an app. The app is running on a cloud, you do a banking transaction. Paytm, do you know where is the Paytm server? We don't care. We just need to do our transaction. So that is what cloud computing has done. We get enormous power of computing without having to own the computer. We actually get the service and we pay for whatever we are using. Google Drive, for example, 15 GB is free. Anything more than that, if you want 20 GB, you have to pay for that.
Right.
And third, Internet of Things. That's the other thing. Internet of Things is normally being used for a very limited sense today. But what does Internet of Things mean? It means there is internet in everything. It means internet, as the name itself says, is a network. It connects people, it connects computers, it connects devices also now. So to give one example, many in cold countries, for example, I lived in the US for a long time. Winters are very cold. So I have to heat my house. But whenever I'm at work, I don't need to heat my house. When I'm coming home, when I come, house will be cold. So if I have set up Internet of Things, I will have an app in the dashboard of my car. There is a sensor at my home. That sensor constantly keeps sending me temperature conditions at my home. While I start from my home, if I think the temperature is too low, I use the app in my dashboard, flip a button there, and the heater in my house starts working. The fridge starts working. It's not working till now. So that's what Internet of Things does. We have access to all information. So same thing applies to bank accounts too. If I have now bank accounts right now are working, they don't need sensors. But if you want to do control physical devices, like control my heater, control my fridge at home, Internet of Things, there are more involved applications. When we talk about Internet of Things some other day, we'll talk about how much useful it can be. For example, it can check your car and say whether you have too little petrol. I mean, we have an indicator today, but can we depend on it? That sensor indicator may show I have half the tank of petrol. I may not have it that way. Internet of Things will actually tell me how many liters of petrol I have. That kind of information we do. Then you have open source, SaaS, and serviceless. It goes with cloud today. Open source, let's not worry about today. SaaS means software as a service. Your Gmail is that. Gmail is software. It is provided to us as a service on a cloud somewhere. No code and low code are for those of you who want to get into development. Historically, those of you, if any of you here, if you have done any programming, we know the first program we write is hello world. We write 4 lines of code, which prints out hello world. And today, earlier we used to type it on the console, black and green consoles. I type 5 lines, open, print, hello world, end. So I hit enter, hello world comes up. Now we have to show it in a window. We have to show it on a mouse. So we write the hello world program, what we call as a platform, and it takes a lot of coding. So now these platforms have reduced the job to such an extent that at one place I type hello world, put within quotes, it displays it within a window. So from writing 10 lines of code, I'm reduced to writing just 1 line of code of what I want. I don't have to even write the word print, it understands. So that's the concept of low code and no code. So even people who have a functional knowledge, we know what we want the program to do. We want it to calculate simple interest. We want it to say hello world. That's all we need to know. The platform will take care of packaging it, showing it in the right color, showing it in the corner of the screen, watching the cursor there. And finally, artificial intelligence. What is intelligence? Intelligence, suppose in the morning, I'm looking one way, but I say the world is becoming brighter and brighter. Based on yesterday's experience, I know that the sun is rising, right? That's intelligence. If I put a sensor, the sensor will simply say that it's becoming brighter and brighter. It's my intelligence which connects the dots, uses reason to tell me because it's becoming brighter, even though I don't see the sun, I know sun is there.
Right.
So this capability to match all the facts and draw conclusion is what is intelligence. Now computers have facts, computers have data. So how do they draw conclusions? That is artificial intelligence. One very simple example, those of you who might have your credit cards and debit cards, let's say your daily transaction is, your typical transaction is you buy something for 100 rupees, 200 rupees, 500 rupees. Suddenly there is a transaction for 80,000 rupees. Don't you get a call? Don't you get a call or a notice from somebody? Your bank will call you. Are you trying to do this transaction? Are you the person who has done this? How did they come to know? The computers in the bank have all your data. It sees the patterns, 200, 500, 3,100, 45 rupees. Suddenly it says 80,000. So it reasons out that this is not a normal transaction. So this capability to look at facts and draw conclusions is intelligence that computers are doing. That's why we call it as artificial intelligence. And that is, it is coming heavily into FinTech also. For example, there are a lot of P2P banks. How do they measure your credibility, credit rating? They're using AI to artificial intelligence to do your credit rating. So that's briefly, this is like a 1-minute slide to show you what each of these is. Like before we start the movie, we show the photo of the hero, heroine, all of those things. This is that kind of a view about the technology. Each one of it, which people are doing PhDs in each of these fields. And now on the 4 major roles in FinTech, the one about that. So when I talk about technology like this, all of you must be thinking, oh my God, I have never done any programming. Can I be a programmer? It's so tough. I know people who are doing programming, they're all geeks. I don't understand. If you're a geek, wonderful for you. Your future is so much assured. You get into any of these fields, you are the king. You can name your price, you can name where you want to work. You want to say you want to work from home, they will let you do that because you are the master of technology. Others, we don't have to despair. There are other roles there. So first one, commercial evangelist. That is, there is all this technology, but what will the technology do for us? We need to understand what technology can do for us. Once I understand that, I'll go with new applications. For example, there is one application called Practo. I think the company is still there. What does Practo do? Practo takes the diaries. It has signed up with, say, hundreds and thousands of doctors. Every day it takes the diary. It maintains the diary. He can go to Dr. Practo and say, I want to meet Dr. Gopal for my foot problem tomorrow. I have a broken bone or something. He's a pediatrist or whatever the rate, orthopedist rather. So I want to consult with him tomorrow. I go to Practo, check with Dr. Gopal, whom I know, and say 11 to 11:30, I want to meet him. This program is maintaining Dr. Gopal's diary. So it says whether that appointment is available. If not, it gives me some other time, 12 to 12:30. I accept that, and it conveys the message to Dr. Gopal. So people who saw the power of internet, who saw it as it can be used to connect two people. Otherwise, I would have to meet Dr. Gopal. I had to call him over the phone. Now internet is doing that. So somebody who saw the potential of internet has done this. They have developed this application. I give one simple example. Commercial evangelists are those people who understand technology and come out and develop application. This is the application I want. This functionality I need to develop, like IRCTC today. Somebody conceived that we can buy train tickets, and railways built that application. And now I can place an order, and that order goes to the Indian Railways, which books that berth for me. It holds that berth for me. If I cancel, it makes it available. So commercial evangelists are people who understand technology, either come up with new products or explain the product to users. Sometimes users also don't understand. Users also don't understand what technology can do for us. Right. 20 years back, when we really started developing what are called ERP systems today, many of the merchants we were selling it to didn't understand what this computer kya karta hai, they used to say. You just keep entering numbers and you just keep entering numbers. What do I get? We had to show to them that in your accounting book, imagine if you have this year's sales and you want to compare with last year's sales, imagine the amount of work you have to do. You have to tally this year's numbers, go to last year's numbers, compare them. Here at the switch of a button, you have entered last year's numbers, I have entered this year's numbers. Not only can I give you a comparison, I can also tell you how much higher it was, how much it was higher by region, how much my sales were higher in northern region, southern region. So if you're an evangelist, your job is to tell this to people who are using it. Look, you buy our computer, you buy our software, you buy our application, it can do ABCDE for you. That's one job. People in sales definitely are this, and you need to master this. You need to understand a bit of technology. Because remember, many times your customers also are as knowledgeable as you are about technology. So commercial evangelists are people who look at technology and find new products, find new applications of product, things like that. Second one, I don't need to tell you, technology wizards. What do? Oh, I'm a J2EE expert. For some of us, it may sound like gibberish, but people in the field know that he works on the J2EE platform. You talk to somebody else, he says, oh, I am an Oracle expert. Again, for people in the technology, we know that this person is a master of the Oracle database. So technology wizards are people who are working in technology. Some of you here probably are that. You're going to have a future out there. Third one are operations champions. It can be as simple as keeping the systems up. Suddenly when hard disk goes, what do? How do you replace it so that technology, your operations continue? Today we have to be online, right? About 8 months or a year back, the sites of one of the airlines went down, right? I'll not name which airline it is. What happened? The airlines business came to a standstill. They couldn't sell tickets. Planes are there, pilots are there waiting. You could sell the ticket to them because one server failed. So we need people to keep systems working. We need to make sure that somebody cannot hack into your system. We need to make sure that if the system crashes, we have saved the data somewhere so that we can recover that. And finally, the fourth role are what are called corporate drivers. Within the company itself, we need people who see the need for this and sell the idea. Your boss is focused about, he will say, increase the profits. That's all they want. So if you are a corporate driver, you understand technology, present to your boss saying that if you put up this application, if you implement this, our cost can be brought down by so much. we can go for a new market, which we are not attacking. Or you could be a finance person. This technology is going to cost us so much. Our return of investment is going to be this. So the fourth category is people inside the corporation who act like inside evangelists. They again see the application of technology. They see what it does for us. How do we fund it? How do we get return on investment? So if you are not in this bottom category where you're dealing with technology, there are other roles. There are other roles where people from other backgrounds also can look for a future. I know that's a long introduction, but I thought it should be.
Dr. Sudhi, it was really wonderful. I mean, I think the participants also got a good download of everything, right? You also give us the history, the current situation, the future. So I think that is something delightful even to the participants. And it's always been amazing to talk to you. Thank you for that. Yeah. So Nikita, can we move to the next slide? Right. So let's get on to the product that we have today. And let's understand that why this particular premium product is even launched, right? And before we get to understand everything, let's understand this product is something that's there for every one of you. It's going to give you insights. It's going to give you a lot of skilling. It's going to, build your resume. It's going to also work on your, for your placements at campus, or it would also give you growth in your industry. Or even if people who are looking at, switching their careers, they could also do this course. So why did we come out with this course? Let's understand that first. Now, we are known as one of the largest and trusted training partners to organizations across sectors, right? For all their skilling needs and requirements. We work with companies like Wipro, Axis, Tech Mahindra, Cognizant, and various other, IT giants or the banking giants to hire fresh graduates for them with the required skills. Now, we train their existing workforce for better quality results at work, benefiting, both of them, especially the employee as well as the industry. Now, FinTech is niche today, and the roles in the industry are also it's not very specific to each organization, but there is a huge demand for people who can be absorbed for roles like as a FinTech analyst, a risk analyst, maybe a tech support, a blockchain designer, customer support executive, client relations executive, security monitor, or a FinTech products marketer, or a blockchain testing executive, and so on. There are many more roles which come in specifically from different organizations. Now, what's the requirement for the skilled force? Because there is humongous and large volumes that's available, and they require people, right, into the industries. So the corporates have come up with us with a unique task that we need to train people inside and outside in the open market on these skills so that the hiring demand is completely fulfilled. So this is where we are with the program. Secondly, who's the audience for the program? People between 18 and 25, those who are looking to make a career in the industry, this is the right program. Who want to get into the FinTech industry is something that they want to understand because the basics are taught here. Those of you who are exposed to FinTech at work and would like to continue their career in that and would want to forward that in their industry, it's all welcome to you as well. And most importantly, we also certify those people who want to, work on certifications, build their career even before they get in for placement, right? So whether it's the freshers, whether it's going to be the existing employees in the companies, or it's going to be for people in terms of growth, or even a switch in career. So these are the things that the product, keeping in mind that this product is completely built. Now, most importantly, as I've also spoke about it, that this is a job assistance program. So please don't take it completely as a job assistance program because this is something related for your skills, right? If today you need to certify yourself, you need to have the best skills, you want to have the best job, the best role in the industry, then you need to skill yourself. If you don't, then there will be a gap in the industry as well because they need you and you need them too. So the skills have to be absorbed by you to provide day one ready workforce for these industries. So I think in terms of the program, it's just a 2 months program, but basics have been covered. And I would like Dr. Sudhi, who's the product architecture of this program and who has done it completely with the experts of our industries, to give you a little more insights about what the program consists of and what it can give you and what is in store. Dr. Sudhi, over to you.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes, Keerthi. the basic module that it's aimed at people who actually have no idea what FinTech is. We are assuming that you come with no prior knowledge of FinTech except having heard the word. The basic module will introduce you to the concept of FinTech. It will also give you a little bit of the business application. Why is FinTech important? What are the fields in which business FinTech is making a difference? Why we should study that? And to some extent, some amount of projection into the future. What could happen in the future? We'll also briefly touch upon some of the basic technologies that are required to understand FinTech. Blockchain is obviously one of them. Another one is cryptography, because without understanding cryptography pretty much underlines every aspect of FinTech. Some of the related aspects like cloud and AI and things like that we touched upon in some more detail than that. Then we will also give you a somewhat higher, greater depth on applications of FinTech today. Like we already touched upon cryptocurrency, but FinTech is also a very big player in the payment systems market. FinTech is the driver of what is called digital cash today. FinTech is a very big component of backend processing. Like blockchain uses, essentially, it automates our ledger. We can use that to offer new products, new services to not just FinTech industry, other industries also, like documents management and things like that. We'll also briefly touch upon databases, because without understanding of data, the technology part, and a little bit about platforms. There are platforms for general application development, like we have the Visual C++ platform, Java J2E platform, what is called the LAMP platform. We'll also briefly touch upon platforms to develop blockchains. We have the Ethereum platform, for example, which helps you develop the Ethereum blockchain. We have the Hyperledger platform, which is a combination of tools, which will again help us develop. We're not going to go deep into that, but you'll be aware that if I'm going to get into FinTech, if I'm going to develop a blockchain, there are these platforms available. And we'll also briefly touch upon what will AI do and what will cloud do and things like that, and some amount of and some understanding of pattern matching, data analysis, things like that. Next, this itself will cover a big chunk of your program. That is understanding what FinTech is, what are the applications. Sorry, I digressed a bit. Applications of FinTech today are essentially cryptocurrency, payment systems, digital cash, money transfer systems. I don't know how many of you are paying attention to the war that Russia has in Ukraine. In that context, when the war started, some of you might have heard of the word SWIFT. What is SWIFT?
Yes.
And they said we are going to expel Russian banks from SWIFT. Why is it so important? SWIFT actually is a network. It's nothing more than a network, but it's a network for doing financial transactions across the world. So if I remove the network from you, you cannot do any transactions. Russian banks are cut off. So now FinTech SWIFT used to be a monopoly. You ask any banker, they will tell you that we have to deal with SWIFT and it's a monopoly. Now FinTech is providing alternatives. There are alternatives to SWIFT, and that's how Russia is able to manage. Russia and China, for example, are doing all the transactions outside of SWIFT because using the FinTech technology, they have developed a transfer system. There is one called Ripple and so many things. Then FinTech is also applied in what is called P2P banking. You want 10,000 rupees, which bank will lend you 10,000 rupees just like that? There are many people willing to give you personal loans, but not in a formal, secure way. Instead, I can borrow from anonymous person, I can borrow 10,000 rupees and return it to them, person-to-person banking. So there are FinTech platforms which are helping P2P banks come into play. They will ensure that if I am lending 10,000 rupees to somebody whom I don't know, I still get enough security. I still get enough collateral. So that if that person goes back on his word, I'm assured of. This platform gives me that assurance by various means. They use AI techniques. P2P banks use a lot of AI techniques. FinTech is heavily used in, it's coming to increasing use in crowdfunding, for example. In the class, I'll give an example how a movie can be crowdfunded using FinTech. Other than FinTech, other than finance industry, FinTech, especially blockchain, have other applications too. They're being used in supply chain. They're using in document automation. Some of them may have an indirect bearing on finance. And we'll look at a few of those applications also. So when we finished, and there is a module in which we, as I said, this program is meant for freshers and beginners who want to get in the field. So we also have a module to burnish your soft skills, like language, spoken English, written English, art of taking interview. So that aspect also, as Keerthi said, the object of this program, our certification program, is to make students job ready. I mean, it's a job related program, job assured program. But before we get a job, we should be job ready. We should understand the field that we're talking about, and we should be in a position to articulate that. If you go through this is the basic module. In addition, if any of you want to go into greater depth in any of these things, suppose you want to study payment systems in more detail, you want to study cryptocurrencies in more detail, we have more elective modules where you can go deeper into each of these subjects. In the process, we'll also try to give you a little bit of hands-on training. It's not all theory. We will help you build your first blockchain. We'll put you don't have to do much. It's the equivalent of writing the Hello World program. Just create that, so that when you go to somebody, it's not like you have never seen a blockchain, you would have seen. So that's the overall objective of this program, and that will take about 120 hours of instruction.
Thank you, Dr. Sudhi. I think our participants are eager to talk to us. So I think let's open it for Q&A. But before that, I think if you go to the next slide, Nikita, we can just show them, all the fintech companies, a few of them which we have listed out, who are interested in hiring people who come in with, fintech knowledge as well. So these are the companies. You can keep them on screen so that, people can ask us questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sudhi. Thank you, Keerthi, for all your inputs. I think the examples that both of you gave and the way you shared about the program and overall what FinTech is, it would definitely have helped clear a lot of doubts for the participants. And if they have any more, they can start shooting their questions in the Q&A chat and we will answer those questions for them.
Sure.
So I think before I start reading the questions that we have from the participants, Dr. Sudhi, I would like you to explain. I mean, I myself have that doubt that I come from a commerce background and then I have done MBA in marketing. Can a person like me still be a part of the FinTech world? It sounds so fancy and it sounds like the opportunities in a FinTech world are huge. So how can I get into it?
Okay. Perhaps the best answer I can give is a realization that FinTech is a tool. Commerce is your skill. FinTech is a tool. So what will FinTech do? It help you do commerce better. In this connection, if I can digress slightly to give an example to make my point clearer, there is this company called BASF. Many of you must have seen their logo and all that. It's actually probably the biggest German chemical company. And BASF makes a lot of products which go into our products, which we don't use. We have not heard of BASF. So BASF did a series of ads in the US. They showed a carpet, a nice carpet. Somebody comes and spills this grape juice on it. You know how black it is, black grape juice. And the kid comes and spills grape juice, but the mother comes with a sponge and just wipes it off. So BASF's tagline said at the bottom, we don't make the carpet, but we make the carpet better. So that's what FinTech is. So FinTech makes you do your job better. But to do that, you should understand FinTech. So that's something that everybody should realize. Whatever be your field, you only need to understand how to use that, right, in your field. Hopefully, our program will give you that foundation to go back and say, oh, I've been doing this activity. Say I'm doing derivative evaluations for this long. How can I do it better? Is there a tool based on FinTech which I can use it to make my evaluation better, stronger, faster, all the good things? So that should probably answer you and anybody else who might be having a similar question.
Yeah. So based on the answer that you just gave, I think we shouldn't be scared of FinTech and consider it as a support system to do whatever we are doing in a much more better manner.
Yes, Nikita.
Okay, so Dr. Sudhi, we have one question from Janvini, and she wants to know something about digital lending. If you can explain what that is and.
Okay, that question, you have to put a little context into that. Digital lending may mean two things. One is lending a digital asset itself, which could be a cryptocurrency, for example, or it could be an NFT. NFT is called non-fungible tokens. Probably this is not the platform to go deep into that,
Yes.
but assume that these are all what are called the digital assets. I can lend that. I can lend a Bitcoin. Again, as I said, if I lend you a Bitcoin or a part of it, or if I lend you an NFT, we don't have anything physical to show for it. What we have is a bunch of numbers which make sense within that context. Alternately, when you say digital lending, it includes these two aspects: lending a digital asset or using a digital platform. For example, there are many P2P banks or many digital banks. For example, there is one bank, recently I came to know about them. They are not really, they are actually more like a regular bank. What they do is they lend you their own money. They're not a bank in a traditional sense. They lend you small amounts of money for a period of time. It's their money. So that is also digital lending. They lend you the money, but first they evaluate you digitally based on your past transactions. They will see what is your credit rating. They will see a record of past prepayments, and they will see how best they can get the collateral out of them. So that is one aspect. There is one other type of P2P where the platform simply puts the borrower and the lender together. So I want to borrow 25,000 rupees for 1 month. So I go on this platform and say, okay, please make your offers. Who wants me to lend me 25,000 rupees for 1 month and tell me your interest rate. So when now you think of a lender, you think of yourself as a lender, you would think, why should I lend Sudhir 25,000? Obviously, I'm going to get interest for that, but what's the assurance? What is the guarantee that he's a good borrower? So that's where the platform comes in. They take various pieces of data from me and give me a credit rating. So they tell the lender, look, Sudhir's credit rating is 85%. Means if you lend him 25,000 rupees, there's an 85% chance that he will get it back. Based on that, you decide your interest rate. You tell me that if I want to lend you 25,000 rupees, you need to give me 10% of the amount for 1 month. If somebody is coming to you with 95% credit rating, for them, you may want to say, okay, I will lend 25,000 rupees to you at 5,000 rupees interest, 5% interest. And I will now, all of you make your bids. I will look at them. I'll pick the one best for me. I'll pick somebody who is willing to give me 25,000 per month at the lowest interest rate. So this is the way digital lending also works. It works in two different ways. The second group is what we call as P2P. The first group is simply digital lending a digital asset.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sudhi, for answering that question. I hope that what digital lending is clear to all our attendees. So now, Keerthi, we have a lot of questions coming in about the program details. If you could share about what the fees is, how the structure is formed, the duration of the program, what can they expect after going through the training? If you can give some points on that, that will be helpful to our attendees.
Right. So I think repeating it, even after Dr. Sudhi said and I said, of course, this program is going to be for 120 hours. It's going to be like a 2 months program. It's going to be a weekday program, which is generally in the evenings between 5 to 8. And students of a background, as I said, 18 to 25, or students coming in as freshers, students studying, people, who have experience of 0 to 2 years of experience, right? Want to get into the FinTech, exposed to FinTech, or someone who's looking at a switch can all be a part of this program. So this is one. Second thing is also when we spoke about the placement assistance, right? Again, coming in and telling you that this particular program is a certification program, which is going to skill you very, very well. But yes, this program comes in with a placement assistance to let you, expose you to the interviews with our companies that we have, who we speak to day in and out and work with them. So the program will give you a placement assistance. But please do understand, academics is different. A skilling program is different. The first thing that you need to understand in this particular program for skilling is that we see that students don't miss classes, right? That's very important. We have a life cycle management of a student, wherein a student is tracked from day one till the end of the cycle. And we expect that students do not see video classes. They do understand, come in for live classes, go through the projects very well, because if they miss a class, then they're losing out on a lot of it, especially in live sessions and even whatever doubts, your doubt clarifications. Though we have a doubt clarification, we'll have mentor sessions, we're going to have on the weekends, all of this, which is going to be a program. You will work on labs and all of this. This will be a part of the program. Just see to that you're very confident in coming into the program. You will not take in leaves or vacations if there's anything that's very specific. So this is all about the program. Anything more, Nikita, that they wanted to know?
I think people are also asking questions about the process of joining the program, and the process is actually pretty simple. We have a registration link that will be shared on the chat. We are currently, the program is currently available at a discounted price of 49,999. And if you register today using the link that we will just share in the chat, you will also get a 2,000 rupees cashback at the end of the program. So if you are interested to develop a career in the FinTech world, we would request you to kindly start clicking on the link and start registering for the program. The registration price is 4,999, and you can book your seat into the program with just that. We are starting a new batch at the end of this month, and so start booking your seats for it. So based on the questions that we have currently, Keerthi, there are a lot of people who are asking questions as about with regards to their age. So do we have an age limit for someone to start building a career into FinTech if they are 27-year-old or even in their 30s? Is there any restriction to that?
As I again, will repeat this, it's a certification program, but there is a limit or an eligibility that is asked by the industries, right? So I need to profile the student. I need to understand from which background is he coming in. But yes, freshers who are there, right? People with 0 to 2 years of experience or even more who want to get into the FinTech industry, or someone who wants to switch a career, must have had even 5-6 years, but then exposed, would still want to get in. But this will be a basic level program, because of the roles that I explained, right? Maybe as a risk analyst or a FinTech designer, all of these roles include people with just basic knowledge. But then, yes, we will come back, especially talking to our, our industry partners on the eligibility so that they can work on it and come back and let us know if they can take in people who have vast experience, but still can come into this field completely.
So I think eligibility criteria is something that for jobs in particular that is decided by the industries, but for anyone who wants to learn FinTech, there is no bar. Anyone from any background can join in.
But I would like to take a view from Dr. Sudhi as well on this. Being a product architecture, I'm very sure that he'll be able to add in a little more than what we can.
Sure. While we said we don't assume any prior knowledge of FinTech, certain amount of mathematical background would always help. I'm not saying it's absolutely necessary. If you don't need math, we are not going to talk about calculus and trigonometry and all. The process of gathering data, analyzing that, and generating output, which happens in every field pretty much. This exercise, this capability is something that will help you. There are people like, for example, who are very good in imagining things and describing them. We call them as poets, authors, and things like that. And there are people who are very good at adding 2 and 2 and tell us the answer is 4. So obviously, the latter capability is more useful. So if you are coming from a science background, an engineering background, definitely you'll be at an advantage compared to. I hope that I know that from the chats and all I can see that there are quite a few technically qualified people also on this call. For them, it is easier because they already come from the background. But I hope whatever technology I talk today, I do hope that all of you, irrespective of your background, understood what I am trying to say. So if you can understand that level of what I talk today, you'll be a good candidate.
Thank you, Dr. Sudhi. Yes, Nikita.
Yeah. A lot of questions with regards to the program and eligibility criteria. So all of you who have such doubts, our counselors will get back to you. And we will assure that if you're interested into getting into the program, you have all the necessary details about it.
Sure. So Nikita, let's take all their questions. I mean, so that we can answer it and send it to them. Please let them send their email IDs, their phone numbers. We can talk to them, right? So that we can, get into details and help them out even better, in fact.
For sure, yes. We will definitely do that. I mean, after the webinar is done, all of us will get connected with them and answer all their queries.
Sure.
Okay, so we have one more question where Rakshit is asking that he has completed his master's certification in data science. So will that be helpful in building a career in FinTech? Is that an added advantage?
Yes, it is. So Dr. Sudhendar.
Most certainly it is. As I said, we include a little bit of database in the course also. Simple reason being that, as I said, FinTech is the tool. It needs raw material to work on. And today the raw material is data. So if you understand data very well, that will be a big added advantage. No question about it. Ultimately, once you deploy the tool, you need data to run it. The tool works on data, especially artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence depends heavily on amount of data. Vast amounts of data processed faster gives better reason, better logic than lack of data. And many systems, if you are from data sciences, you might have heard of the term deep learning. So how does deep learning happen? By simply processing through enormous amounts of data. You learn more, the more data you get, the more data you process, your learning becomes better and better.
Yes.
So in that sense, having an understanding of database, definitely. Remember, these are two different things. Database is the fuel, a raw material, the data science that you have studied. It will help you harness the data, how to manage that, how to analyze that, how to slice and dice it, how to draw conclusions. But you need FinTech to translate them into transactions. FinTech is about transactions. Remember, when we buy something, when we lend you money, in economic terms, it's a transaction, right? I'm lending you money, you are borrowing the money. So FinTech translates this data into those transactions in the real world. So they're like two sides of the coin. It definitely is.
So I think Rakshit, having that background definitely helps you. And if you are interested in enrolling, please click on the link that is available on the chat box. Okay, so another question that we have here is what kind of career growth can they expect after completing this program, or in fact any other program in FinTech? What kind of career development can they see in the future years for themselves?
Yeah. Dr. Sudhi, I think this is for you.
Okay. The answer I'm going to give is generic to any field. Let me start there. It depends on how well the field grows. Suppose I learn driving. What kind of career growth can I expect today? Right? I'll become a driver. I'll maybe start with a smaller vehicle. For a period of time, I grow into a bigger and bigger vehicle. After some time, I become a trainer. Become a trainer teaching driving. And maybe you become a owner of vehicles. That's a path, but it's not very deep because the field of driving is not expanding that much. Whereas FinTech is just getting started. So as the field grows further and further, see, long time back, if we started on databases, we used to use a small table system called DBase3. That's all it needed. It's a very simple tabling system. Just like Access. But today, people who started there have become data analysts. They deal with petabytes of data, zettabytes of data. So as much as the field grows, you will also keep growing. So you will start as a beginner. You start as a beginner applying, doing some small bits and pieces within FinTech, using a FinTech tool. Say you start working for a P2P bank. So you use the platform to bring buyers in together. For a period of time, you go to the next level. If you're technically oriented, you will become the person who develops the tool. Or if you are partly technical, partly business, you become the person who deploys the tool. I have a platform for P2P banking, and there is this bank which wants to deploy. they need people who not only develop the P2P platform, but also bring it to the bank, train users how to use it, help them maintain, explain to people what it can do, so you can become an implementer at the next level. Further up, you become a manager managing these various tools, various people, various skills. So you'll be in a position to, if somebody says, I want a solution for this problem, he'll be in a position to either architect the problem using various FinTech tools, or you may want to become an evangelist. Like, you know that the tool is there, you sell the concept to them. So as you can see, as you grow through the process, your understanding of not just the tool, its application in the business and the value it provides goes deeper and deeper. And finally, if you have a develop a full breadth understanding, today, in the future, today, CFO means Chief Finance Officer. I'm fairly certain there'll be a CFTO, Chief FinTech Officer. So we are looking at those kinds of career path.
Thank you, Dr. Sudhi.
I think that has answered the question and it has cleared the doubts of the kind of career growth a person can expect. But again, we have one more question, and it is in fact a detailed question, and I would like you to answer this one as well. So we have Shiladitya Biswas, who's asking that they are interested in the field of risk management and have recently passed part 1 of the PRM program, the Professional Risk Management Global Certification. So they would like to know that how our program will help them into entering the field of FinTech, and what kind of trajectory that they might expect, what kind of industries and roles they can apply to after going through this program. They are inclined more towards regulatory side of risk management and are currently working as in the field of digital marketing. So,
yes, Dr. Sudhi.
This is what we call as interdisciplinary kind of a career. Risk management is a career by itself today, but the tools of the FinTech bring certain additional capabilities to the field of risk management. For example, I told you that I mentioned about blockchain, how it can give you what is called a immutable history of all the transactions. So when you are doing risk management, a tool like that is very useful. You know that if you are getting information from this source, how trustable it is. By the way, blockchains are not like invulnerable. They also have their own vulnerabilities, but it will give you an additional tool to do your risk management better. Likewise, some of the AI tools, which are now becoming part of FinTech, also help you do your risk management part. And in terms of regulatory domain, there are different aspects which affect different aspects of information about finance. I mean, ultimately, as I started off by saying, today we don't do finance. We deal with information about finance. The moment you start dealing with, so when I have cash with me, what is the risk? That I lose the notes, I lose the coin. But if I have information about the cash, what can I do? I can check the amount of cash in the books. That's a completely different ballgame together. So, and these tools, many of these tools will give you additional capabilities if you are focused solely on the risk management aspect of it. And it will also help you deal with the regulatory aspects. That's the reason why governments put so many constraints about FinTech. They're worried about all these other things because you have information. You just don't have money. You don't have the cash or the currency. You have information about cash. All of you, if you're in risk management, you probably know that in what is called a dark web, credit card information is sold. See, the moment I steal a credit card, you think I'll just use it and steal money. No, they sell information about a credit card. They don't use the credit card. Why? Because you can do much more damage with the information than with the card itself. And FinTech affects those businesses deeply. So a good understanding will definitely help. And you'll also understand why, if there is some regulation, for example, India has serious regulations on cryptocurrency. We periodically keep banning and all. You understand why they are doing it. And secondly, how will it affect you, your business, if they come up with a new regulation? Some countries are allowing FinTech almost like legal tender. Like I believe Switzerland allows people to pay taxes to the government using cryptocurrencies, for example. So what benefit will that bring you? And if you're in risk management, you know the concept of hedging. So then you will be able to understand, can I use a crypto asset or a digital asset, which is now a part of FinTech today? Can I use digital asset to do my hedging? Again, your aspect of risk management. So as FinTech becomes bigger and bigger component of finance field as such, risk management will be affected by what happens in the FinTech world. So an understanding of that will help you in that aspect too.
Sure. So yeah, thank you, Dr. Sudhi. So I think we are crunched with time today, but yes, please don't be disappointed. I mean, we will take all your questions, answer it in detail and send it to you all, right? And we will keep in touch with you all on calls, and any more questions, any more queries, please, we have the numbers, we have our websites. You can also get in touch with us personally and see what we can help you out with. Yes, Nikita.
So I think, Keerthi, we have a lot of questions with regards to program. I think if you can just take one more question, that will definitely help the students. Just a second. So yeah, so we have a question where we've been asked that what is the format of the classes? Will it be online? Will it be offline? Will they have any sort of personal connect at the end of the program? And what kind of job assistance? Is there job assistance? Is there placement assistance at the end of it? So if you can just elaborate on that once again, that is.
Sure. So the program is going to be an online program. It's going to be conducted on weekdays between 5 and 8. And yes, it does have a placement assistance program. So as I said, it's a strict way of managing y'all to get into your placements. Yes.
So, yeah, I think all the questions that we have with regards to placement assistance, those are answered. So thank you, Dr. Sudhi. Thank you, Keerthi, for giving your time to all the attendees, for explaining everything so well and for answering so many questions. I think after hearing the answers, people have more and more curiosity to learn about FinTech and the career they can have in FinTech. And we would definitely be seeing a lot of mails and calls from them. So thank you so much for such an interactive and informative session. I am sure this definitely helped everyone. It helped me understand what FinTech is. So I am a pretty, I have absolutely no clue about this field. So I think people like me would have definitely benefited out of it. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Nikita. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Nikita. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you, Surjit, Sampath. Thank you, all of you, for joining in.
Thank you, Keerthi.
You can, so all of you who are interested in our FinTech program, you can scan the QR code that is visible on the screen, and you can book your seats right now. If you have any queries, you can dial in into the number that is mentioned on the screen. And you also have my email ID to connect with. So we will definitely get back to all of you and to all your queries. To those who haven't been answered, we will answer all those queries on calls and mails. So don't worry about that. And we will keep having such sessions so that all your doubts and queries about FinTech and in fact any other technological domain can be answered. So we hope to see you in the next session that we have. And we hope to see you as part of our programs as well. Thank you so much for joining in. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
This benefited everyone, and we would like to see you in our classes. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.